So there's AMG, there's Cadillac V, and there's BMW M. Those are basically taking very big amounts of horsepower and putting them in everyday cars. Granted, very expensive cars, but everyday cars. NISMO does something just a bit different. They take a little bit of horsepower, give a little bit more performance, and don't charge as much. It started back in the 60s with a couple of guys that worked in Nissan, and they decided, you know, we're going to have Nissan Motorsport and go racing. They basically built race cars up until about the mid-80s when they formed an actual brand. It wasn't until 1999 when they built their first entire car, which was the R34 GTR. Here we are in 2014, actually 13, but for a 14 car, and we have a new NISMO Z. Like the previous year car, it goes from 332 horsepower to 350, and it goes from 270 pound-feet of torque to 276. And then we gussy up the car. Better wheels, an air kit, stiffer suspension, and I have to say, as a previous Lotus Elise owner, this is about the closest thing you're going to get to a Lotus Elise and still have power windows, power locks, air conditioning, basically a real car. But this is not the only thing that NISMO is doing nowadays. There's a new NISMO in town, but this time it's not a Z, it's a Juke. There's really three big changes. It's engine, suspension, and the way it looks. Biggest being the engine. The engine goes from 188 horsepower to 197, and there's a couple of more pound-feet of torque. It goes from 177 to 184. And then underneath the car, there's a couple of changes. You get about 10% stiffer suspension, and the wheels, not quite dubs, but you get a little extra inches there. You get maybe 18 inches as opposed to 17. That sounded very phallic, didn't it? And then there's the way the car looks. This one's got a lot of accessories on it. The stickers are an accessory, the exhaust tips are an accessory, but the car comes with the air kit, front, side, comes with a funky red on the mirrors. So if you're going to gussy up the outside, you might as well gussy up the inside. In this case, it's got very funky Recaro-esque seats. They're not made by Recaro, they're made by Nissan, but they're still very bolstered, very cool. As a matter of fact, they're a hell of a lot nicer than the seats that are in the NISMO Z. The two cars do share the same steering wheel, they're both suede. So I guess you got that going for you if you buy a Juke. Now here's the question. Front-wheel drive, you can get the manual. All-wheel drive, you can only get the CVT. But what they've done is they've changed it, they've reprogrammed it, so you get the mimic of a gear change, kind of like in the Infiniti JX35 where it gives you that gear change feeling. You just don't have gears to change. I am but one man and feel you really do need the manual transmission in the all-wheel drive car. So I'd like to find out what you guys think, and I'll pass along your thoughts to Nissan, and hopefully we can get them to kind of turn this around and give us a manual transmission of the all-wheel drive NISMO Juke.